It's the Friday night edition of Western Sports Roundup, and that man right there, the greatest horseman, Jordan Williams, will join us in the studio to talk about his great championship that just happened down at the Will Rogers Coliseum a week ago. And, of course, we will catch up with that cowgirl right there. That is Keely Stewart, and talk about the last two horses that she has sold at the Art of the Cowgirl for a lot of money.
And let's talk about the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeos. You take a look at the opening ceremonies at Rodeo Houston. Super Series number 2 is underway. The first performance was last night. It runs through tomorrow. You can watch all the action here on the Cowboy channel. And things got fast on Thursday night in Houston.
Here we go. It's a pup. Yeah.
Oh, we wrapped that first barrel nice and close. You can bobble it, but you don't want to knock it over.
There you go. Good calf. Great run.
Thanks for joining us inside the Cowboy Channel studios in the Fort Worth Stockyards in Fort Worth, Texas. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to Western Sports Roundup. I'm Steve Kenyon alongside Corey Keith, and we're ready to bring you the latest in Western sports and a lot of variety coming to Western Sports Roundup this afternoon.
Yes, we are. A lot of things heating up as we are going into the weekend, especially in Rodeo Houston. And you might say really tight in the bareback riding race as we look at the highlights. But let's take a look at tie-down roping first and see how things shaped out. And it was all about a young kid who is in his rookie season and off to a great start.
Yeah, let's talk about Ace Reese. He's already won the rookie rally that took place in Fort Worth. You'll have a chance to watch him at the rookie roundup coming up March 20th and 21st at the Cowtown Coliseum. 19 years old, the Texan, 10.4. That's $3,000, and that is not an easy calf to rope. When they run left like that, Corey, that makes life a little bit tougher on a tie-down roper, but the teenager made it work, and he's got the inside track toward maybe a semi-final final spot.
Yeah, had to ride his horse a little bit extra to get that calf tied down, but here's that three-way split we were talking about just a moment ago in the bareback riding. Who was it? Waylon Bourgeois, Taylor Broussard, and Carson Hildrey all split it with 82 points each.
Yeah, and you take a look at it. They were 1 point better than the world champion, Rocker Steiner, who came in there with an 81. Hildrey is another really good rookie. He's the #1 rookie right now in the PRCA in the bareback riding. Broussard's been to the NFR, and Waylon Bourgeois was there last year. And let's talk about a couple of world champions who are both looking for their first Houston title. Caleb Driggers and Junior Nogata.
And I could not believe that. And speaking of #1, Caleb Driggers, #1 header in the world. Junior Nogata, #2 in the world at the moment. It's hard to believe that these guys don't have a Houston title yet, but we're going to say that respectively yet because there is still time, and this could be their year.
And you take a look at the run right there for Caleb and Junior. They stopped the clock in 5 seconds flat. Saddle bronc riding, it was Regan Smith from Winterset, Iowa. 84 points on this bucking horse. That's Mortician. That horse has been there and done that. Regan Smith's been a Rookie of the Year. Regan Smith's been a College National Finals champion. And now that man, that long-haired country boy right there sits in the #1 spot after the first performance of Super Series number 2.
I really thought you were about to say Regan was needing a haircut, but you did not mention that. I did. It's fine. It's fine. I'm digging that style, though. He can rep it well. But speaking of man that reps it well, here's Cash Rob. 4.4. You talk about slamming some beef down fast. It was worth $3,000 for a former National Finals aggregate champion, and just a great kid, too.
Yeah, the NFR average winner in 2024. He was on his way to being the Resistol Rookie of the Year in 2023. Might remember he got hurt that year, and it kept him from winning that rookie title. But Cash Rob in that football field in Houston runs down that steer in 4.4. The single fastest time of the rodeo so far in the barrel race, Jordan Driver from Texas. She bumps the first barrel, keeps it standing, riding the horse she calls Cyrus. You just watched her in San Antonio, riding the big horse she calls Judge. But a 14-18, not only is this the fastest time of the rodeo, Second place in the performance last night was a 14.69. So she won it by a half a second last night.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive. She is currently number 10 in the world, and pretty impressive that she has a couple of horses that she can win championships on. You will not see the last of her. And here's a cowgirl we've been talking about a lot too, Summer Williams, who is originally from Mississippi, now hailing from Mineral Wells, Texas. She stops the clock at 2.5, and she was all smiles.
Yeah, and just like Jordan Driver, this is the single fastest time of the rodeo in the breakaway roping. Nobody's been faster than 2.5. We're 4 performances into it. Summer Williams, you see her right here, stopping the clock, and everything just perfect. She hit the barrier, horse worked great, and so she wins 3,000.
Yeah, she does. Trevor Rice, though, was dominating in the bull riding, 83 points, worth pretty impressive. And I don't know if we'll catch it or not, but he did tackle John Harrison after the ride, which I thought was very, very entertaining. They made it. There it is. Here it comes. Come on, Trevor. Football season's over, but it's just beginning for Trevor Rice.
Wow, that's one of the better hits that have happened at NRG Stadium in the last couple of months. Should I say that? Houston Texans fans are probably watching right now. Trevor Rice, there were only 3 qualified rides, and so he got a little bonus, a little ground money on his check, $3,500. You take a look at the guys who won the guitars that they give away in the Super Series championships, and the fellas that are competing tonight are hoping that they can take one step closer to maybe winning one of those guitars. Right after Western Sports Roundup, stay with us. Rodeo Houston, right here on the Cowboy Channel.
Well, that is a look at the champion tie-down roper from the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo, and you might say tie-down roping was interesting. There was a lot of great runs, but when it all came down to the finals, John Douch was the man that walked away with the title. All smiles, currently number 4 in the world in that race for the gold buckle. And John Douch joins us right now on Western Sports Roundup. John, thanks for joining us today.
Yes, sir. Glad to be here.
Hey, seriously, a tough tie-down roping at San Antonio. In my opinion, it may be one of the toughest tie-downs I've watched in a long time. How does it feel to win this one?
Man, it feels good. You know, I've always done good at that rodeo. I've won, you know, 3rd or 4th a lot, but never won first. And then this year, I finally won first.
Tell me about the championship round on Saturday night, John. You're the very first roper. You jump out and you put some pressure on the rest of the field, in my opinion. You were 7.1. Did you know you had a calf that you could be that fast on? Did you know that when you were walking away, did you think to yourself, all right, boys, come get me? Because that was pretty fast right there. Tell me about that final run.
Yeah, you know, being first, whenever the draw came out, I knew I was the first roper, and I knew I had an okay calf. I seen, you know, Ty go 7-9 on it in the bracket, and then Haven the night before went 7-7 on it. I was like, man, if I hit the barrier, I knew I have a chance, you know, being the first guy, you know, and having the best 10 guys in the world behind me. So I just wanted to go as fast as I could.
So when you're in that situation, I love how you mentioned you just got to hit that barrier. It doesn't really change your approach, though, John. We've watched you in arenas all across the country. You only have one speed, and that is very fast. Is that right?
I feel like I'm going fast, but sometimes I feel like I'm going slow.
Does the world, when you get down to the end of the rope and you got that calf in your hand, does the world just seem to pause for a second when you go into that tie motion?
Man, you know, I've flanked and tied so much, and you know, messing my string up is something I don't do very often. And whenever I do, I'm pretty upset about it because I shouldn't do it. But man, you know, being in those situations, you know, just if I go make my run, nobody else can beat me, and that's how I try to look at it.
Yeah, well, that run was sure smooth. Your mentor, Joe Beaver, I've heard say a couple of times, slow down to speed up. I don't know where all that fit into that run right there, but man, that was a smooth run to win San Antonio. So tell me about the horse that you were riding in San Antonio and that you've been riding, and then we want to talk a little bit about Houston coming up. You're a former champion in Houston, but that horse sure worked for you good in San Antonio. You've had the horse since last year. Take it from there.
Yeah, Tomcat, he's a 11-year-old gelding, and Scotty Sheldon done a great job training him, and then Joe bought him from Scotty Sheldon, and I got it from Joe, and I rode him to Calgary, to Cheyenne, and now San Antonio. I've rode him 2 times in the last 2 months, and I've probably won 60 grand on him. So it's pretty cool to have him up under me.
So we've talked about this before, John. Having Joe Beaver in your corner, a guy
Yes,
like
sir.
that just knows so much about tie-down roping and so much about this sport. What does that do for your confidence? Is it elevated at all, or is there some pressure there that of an expectation you're trying to live up to?
You know, it used to be pressure, you know, because having a 8-time world champion behind me, so I'm like, you know, I got to do good. But now I just go be John Douch and, you know, just let it play out.
You are going to Houston next. You're in the 3rd Super Series, which starts on Sunday. You won the Houston
Yes,
Livestock
sir.
Show and Rodeo in 2022. I always think it's kind of fun the way that this plays out because you go from a rodeo on a basketball court in San Antonio to a rodeo on a football field in Houston. Talk about what it takes to win the tie-down roping, the differences at the barrier, things like that in Houston, in that great big arena where they got all that room to run once you nod your head. Talk about winning in Houston.
Man, you know, it takes a pretty good horse. You know, you got to have one that score good because, you know, you got to score, and you got to have one fat because the barrier's out there. And, you know, you might have a calf that run, and you also need a few good calves. So it kind of, you know, it just depends what the calf situation are in your horse.
John, right now, this may be a group of tie-down ropers, the best we've ever seen as a whole, a group of them. To win a world championship this December, what are you doing right now to prepare for Las Vegas? Because I know you have what it takes to win a world title, but what are we doing to get there?
You know, just roping. I'm in the middle of flanking and tie right now. I got some freezer and flanking and tie with me, so they also kind of waiting on me to get done with this interview, and we're gonna actually practice a little bit more.
Well, that is, I think you're on the right track right now, and I hate that we had to put your practice session on pause today. Steve and I apologize for that.
No, it's fine.
Oh, my theory is anytime I get a chance to talk to John, I'm having a pretty good day.
Yeah, we'll pause our day for whatever you're doing, John. It's all about
Exactly.
you, buddy.
Well, I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on the championship at San Antonio, and hey, good luck at Rodeo Houston. I know you're in a couple sets away from heading down to NRG, so good luck when you get there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
That's tie-down roper John Douch joining us, the champion of the San Antonio Stock Show and Rodeo. Coming up on Western Sports Roundup, there's a brand new event coming. The PRCA is making history, hosting the first ever sanctioned Xtreme Bulldogging Finals. We will give you the details coming up on Western Sports Roundup.
Hey, and a little bit later, we will catch up with James Bond. That's the big stout roan horse you see. And we will also catch up with Jordan Williams. He will join us live in the studio right here at the Cowboy Channel. You are watching Western Sports Roundup.
Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Resistol, the official hat of the PRCA and Cowboys everywhere. Western Sports Roundup is brought to you by Rock and Roll Denim. Live boldly. Live in Rock and Roll Denim.
Well, in case you have not heard, there is a large event about to happen in Abilene, Texas. Cedar Gap Wealth Management and the Professional Rodeo Cowboys Association are making history with the first ever PRCA sanctioned Xtreme Bulldogging Finals. Are you kidding me? $100,000 added payout. It's a qualifying event March 27th. The top 10 get to go to the finals, and of course, 40 contestants in all, 10 from the qualifier, 20 from last year's standings, and 10, the top 10 from the 2026 World Standings. This is going to be big.
So how did this all come about? Well, there's a company, as Corey mentioned, called Cedar Gap Wealth Management, and they sponsor a lot of steer wrestlers. A fellow named Michael Hulse of Cedar Gap Wealth Management started kicking around the idea. This was literally one of those things, you hear about these ideas where a business comes from somebody scribbling notes on a napkin in a bar.
Don't throw your napkins away.
Yeah, that's exactly how this started. Then he reached out to the PRCA, got a hold of the steer wrestlers, and they put it all together. So March 27th, as Corey mentioned, will be the preliminary rounds, and then March 29th, the championship round. All the money counts in the world standings and the Resist All Rookie of the Year race. You know, I was thinking about this, Corey, and I'm pretty sure what I'm about to say is right.
Yeah.
If you're a team roper, if you're a tie-down roper, if you're a barrel racer, if you're a breakaway roper, you've got a ton of jackpot opportunities.
Yeah.
If you ride bareback horses, saddle bronc horses, bulls, you've got a lot of standalone events. This is the first opportunity for steer wrestlers to start to get into the standalone world and have events like this that will give them a chance to showcase their talents in the way that they're going to be showcasing their talents in Abilene at the end of March.
Well, I agree with that, because when you put $100,000 up against something, you're drawing the best of the best in the world. And of course, I know this has been a huge talk. I know it's been behind the scenes. I've talked to Will Loomis. I know he's really excited about this, and I can't wait to watch it unfold.
Yep, that's March 27th and 29th. We'll be in Abilene. You can get your tickets and go enjoy the action. So you're taking a look inside the arena in Scottsdale, Arizona, the home of the Parada del Sol Rodeo. You can watch all the action on the Cowboy Channel Plus app. It wraps up on Sunday. Let's talk about the steer wrestling. Mike McGinn, big guy out of Haines, Oregon, 3-6, winning go-round number 2, 10-6 on 2, winning the aggregate. Mike McGinn came so close last year to going to the NFR. He was one steer away at the final event of the regular season, and that was what kept him from maybe qualifying for his first national finals. Off to a good start at the Parada.
And you know, we have to bring that up. It's just part of the story. He's going to get that breakthrough. It's coming. I feel it in 2026. But now saddle bronc riding, we're going to look to a Montana native, Paul Allen O'Hare, on a great ride. 77 points is what he totals up to be. He will he's the current leader so far at the moment in the bronc riding. But now you move to tie-down roping. Now, here's the deal, Steve. I have a feeling we're going to be talking about this guy a lot in the next few weeks and the weeks to come. Pecos Tatum.
The years to come. Pecos Tatum, 18.1 on 2 head. He won the first go-round. They've already paid the first go-round in the tie-down roping with an 8-6. That was worth $1,363. Sitting first in the aggregate on 2 head, 18.1 on 2 head. Of course, he comes from a great rodeo family. His family's in the buckle-making business, the silver business. He's in the tie-down roping business, and he is really capable of being smooth and fast. And that calf wasn't real cooperative, and he was still 9-5. That's his second go-around calf. He won the first go-around.
Yeah, no, and he's in a set coming up at Houston. I know John Douch was telling us that he's in his set, and he's going to be a force to be reckoned with. But now Colby Olson on the bull called Crawfish. 83.5 points, what it totals up to be. That's the number 4 rookie in arguably a really tough class of bull riders.
This is a really good rookie class of bull riders. You thought last year's was good. This year's is really good, too. Look at him take his outside leg out and go to spurring this bull. Colby Olson's dad used to ride bulls. His family raises bulls, and he comes out of the little town of Cascade, Idaho. Remember this young man's name. 83.5 in Scottsdale at the Parada del Sol for Colby Olson. We'll see if that holds up through Sunday and wins him the rodeo.
Yeah, and there's a look at the overall leaders at the moment. You can see the team roping. That run was in slack. Unfortunately, do not have the video of that run, as well as barrel racing, that 1730 by Briley Banning. So those are the current leaders for the moment. But you can watch all of that on your Cowboy channel plus subscription and get it on the app and keep up with all the action. Not just that rodeo, but a lot of other great rodeos that are going on as well.
So we've got a Really fun story coming up. Jordan Williams is a horse trainer, just got done competing for the very first time at the National Ring Cow Horse Association's World's Greatest Horseman event at the Will Rogers Coliseum here in Fort Worth. And guess what? He's 1 for 1. He won it, $150,000. He will join us in studio to tell us the story coming up on Western Sports Roundup. The National Ring Cow Horse Association just hosted one of its biggest events of the year at Will Rogers Coliseum, the newly remodeled Will Rogers Coliseum here in Fort Worth. You're looking at Jordan Williams, who was crowned the 2026 World's Greatest Horseman, riding a horse called James Bond. No, the horse's hip number is not 007, but this horse was like a secret agent in the way that he performed for 4 different disciplines. And Jordan Williams joins us to tell us all about how this works. Jordan, congratulations. What a beautiful roan horse. And this horse really has meant an awful lot to you in your life, hasn't it?
Yes, he really has. And I want to say thank y'all for having me. But that horse, yeah, he is extremely special. I got him when he turned 3. And he was truly the first great horse that I had. He's the one that I really consider that put me on the map. And yeah, we've had plenty of ups and downs, but to finally get a big win for him was extremely special for me.
Now, Jordan, this is the first time you've ever entered this event, but this event is unique because there's some things there's some requirements from you. Tell us a little bit about what is required to participate in this event.
Well, in the rein cow horse, you know, in the typical events, we have the herd work, the rein work, and the fence work. The World's Greatest, they add the steer stopping, so that's an element that we don't typically see. Matter of fact, you only see it at the World's Greatest Horseman. So that's really the only event that's kind of foreign, you know, feeling, at least to me, because I'd never entered it before, and I've never even competed in a team roping. Like we played around at the house, but you know, to back into the box and then talk about seeing a score and they're telling me what to look for, and I'm like, guys, you're going to have to just tell me, like, if it moves, do I go? I mean, what is it, you know? And I wasn't necessarily concerned about roping out in the field because I grew up doing it. But yeah, I mean, there was a learning curve there, and I went and got some pointers from several guys, and they helped me along the way. And that horse, I mean, he loves his job, and so once he figured it out, it was pretty easy.
Well, and I do want to ask about the bit because at this event, you can only use one bridle, one bit for your horse. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so it's one horse, one rider, one bit, and that's what makes it really cool because, like I said, you're competing against the best, and this is a bit Randy Paul made. They calls it the Slim Jim. You'll see in the port there's a roller or a cricket or whatever you want to call it, but that's mandatory for a cow horse event, and then you must use a leather curb. And then we show, and we don't show in split reins, we show in romal, so you have to show in a pair of romals. The only time that you can use something different is you can use a rope rein for the steer stopping.
Your 4 scores, you were 221.5 in the herd work, 225 in the steer stopping, 220 in the reining, 219 down the fence, a composite of 885.5. You ended up 7.5 points ahead of one of the legends, Chris Dawson. Those were, for those of us who are not in the ring cow horse business, those are 4 really good scores that your horse turned down.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Yeah, but the thing of it is, it took a 220 across the board to make the finals, and so when you look at the lineup of the horses that were in there, you run those back, it's a different story. And yes, I did have really good scores, but so did everybody else. I mean, it was a fight to the very end, no doubt.
So I want to talk a little bit about your background, you know, because I can tell you love being a cowboy, but you haven't always been a cowboy. You were telling us right before we came on air here. Tell us a little bit about your story, your upbringing.
Yeah, so I was born in Oklahoma. My dad, he trained for the late Terry Riddle, training cutting horses. And so I spent a lot of time there. Then we spent a small stint in Arkansas, and then we moved back to Weatherford. So I was probably 4 or 5, and then my dad had decided to hang it up, and he was going to get a different job, so we moved into town. And so I was there. My parents worked extremely hard. Really to give me every opportunity that was presented to me. So I spent a lot of time in and out, like before or after school programs, stuff like that. And I would go, and during the summer, there was a summer camp I would join, and I think I was probably 11. And my uncle, Thomas Saunders, he came and picked me up one day, and obviously we'd been around each other, but I hadn't spent a lot of time there. And I remember asking him, where we're headed, and he said, we're headed to the ranch. And I said, for what? He said, I'm not going to have a nephew that's going to grow up to be a wuss. Yeah, and
this is the most cowboy story I've ever heard. I love it.
Yeah, and he made it happen. And yeah, without him, none of this really would have been possible.
So that's where you come from. Now let's talk about your horse's impact on your career. This James Bond horse, you described your horse in an article that I was looking at from horseandrider.com as your guinea pig. And I think that I probably am not wrong if I say that every great trainer has had 1 or 2 horses that really kind of a horse. Is that the role that James Bond has played in your life? Tell me about what you mean when you say this horse was your guinea pig.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I had a little bit of success before this horse, but he was truly my first great horse. And there's nothing more intimidating when you have a horse of this caliber and you need to go perform at a high level, because it's like, I've got the horse. Why isn't it happening? And I think a lot of times through his younger career, like I said, we had a lot of highs, a lot of lows, but the reality is, through all that, through our trials and errors, we grew together. I learned a lot. There were some moments that were probably bigger than what I was ready for. We made the finals as a 5-year-old at all the major events, and we're sitting really good to go. I just had to go down the fence, and we're going to win a really good check. And I'd put him in some bad spots, and it's truly devastating, because the reality is this is a once-in-a-lifetime type horse, especially for me. And so it would crush me when it didn't happen, because it's just like, dang it, that was my fault, And I always took accountability for it, because, like I said, I never made finals before. So it's kind of like, man, this is, the pressure, whatever it is, I just wasn't quite ready for it. But like I said, through all that, we grew, and then so to finally get that horse a title that I've always truly believed he deserved was really the ultimate. That was the most satisfying thing, I think, coming from winning the world's greatest.
So, okay, obviously you feel like you're on top of the world right now after winning this event. What's the next step? What's next for you? I'm going to keep showing horses. I don't know what the next step is for him. It's like this. It kind of changes everything. Kind of go back to the drawing board, and we're going to kind of reconvene and see what the next step is. But yeah, I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing, and I know that horse will keep doing what he's doing, and so we'll just hopefully keep having fun.
What is the potential impact of winning something like the world's greatest horseman on a guy's career?
I think it's extremely monumental, because, truthfully, the world's greatest horseman, that's the most prestigious event that the NRCHA puts on. It's the mecca of them all, because, in the limited aged event stuff, there's luck in everything. Things have to go your way. But when you think about the world's greatest, you're showing against the best in the business on the best horse that they have in the barn. And, I mean, anybody could win it. So it all comes down to preparation, training, trust in the training, and then just trying to enjoy the moment because, yeah, I mean, I may never do it again. So, yeah, I think it's very special.
Well, it's pretty special, and it's special to have you on here with us today. Once again, congratulations. Greatest Horseman. Enjoy it. Well-deserved and well-earned. And tell James Bond we said hello.
I'll do it. I'll do it. Thank y'all very much for having me.
Jordan Williams joining us. He is the champion of the NRCHA's World's Greatest Horseman. By the way, that paid $150,000. We're going to take a timeout. When we come back, over the last 2 years, they have a big horse sale at the Art of the Cowgirl in Arizona every year. The same lady has brought the 2 top-selling horses in the last years, and we'll meet her coming up. Keely will join us and tell us the entire story next.
Concluded just a few days ago. A lot of big events, including a big horse sale and a high dollar horse sold. That's it right there. The horse governor and the trainer of that amazing animal will join us right now here on Western Sports Roundup to tell us more about that great horse that she raised and trained. That is Keely Stewart. First of all, Keely, thanks for joining us today, and congratulations on that horse brought $225,000, so congratulations for that.
Thank you very much. Thank you guys for having me today.
So I know you guys put a lot of hard work in. Last year, you also sold the high money horse for $200,000. We'll talk about Big Ben here in just a moment, but let's focus on Governor, because this horse is a horse that you guys raised and trained. So this has to be a special moment for you. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's very special to myself and my whole family. So we had some Lusitano studs and some quarter horse mares up north on our ranch in northern BC. So we raised him, and I was 13 when Governor was born. So the whole family's put their share in on the training and the time and the horse that Governor is today. So we're just really thankful.
It's hard to tell looking at video, but Keely, that looks like a big old stout horse. And it looks to me like you're doing everything. We just saw you doing some Liberty. Here you are just riding and showing. Tell me about this horse.
Yeah, so I'm drawn towards well-rounded horses. So we kind of do as much as we can to set them up with a really good foundation in the beginning. And then I've had the honor to go on and do some day working and ranching on them. And then I enjoy roping as well. I wouldn't say that I'm a proficient roper specifically, but he put up with my shenanigans and we just have fun together and try to do as much as we can.
I think it's pretty incredible to see that a horse looks broke. I want him. I can't afford him, but I want him for sure. So tell us a little bit about maybe what your favorite discipline is to teach as far as a horse when training one.
I would say foundation, just the basic fundamentals I feel are really important because once you have that established, it's kind of an open book. You can go almost any direction with them. Outside of that, I really enjoy working cattle ranches and learning more about roping. But specifically would be just that start being really solid, and then you can kind of go any direction and go have fun with them.
So, Keely, part of the story is that as Corey mentioned when we started this, over the last 2 years, you have had the high-selling horse at the Art of the Cowgirl sale 2 years in a row. This horse, Governor, and then this horse called Ben. Ben's story is different from Governor's, right?
Yeah, so we bought Ben as a 3-year-old. My dad had actually started him for a client and she was looking for a new home for him. At the time I had a job where I kind of needed some horsepower under me to get done what I needed to get done, and we just really liked him from the start. So we bought him and I actually told Dad, I said, I think that this is the one I'm not going to sell. I don't want to put him up for sale. I want to have a forever horse that I can always count on, rain or shine. And we ended up offering him for sale. But yeah, he was a pretty spectacular dude.
So I made the comment when we were talking about Governor about he looks like a big stout horse. Ben looks like a bigger, stouter horse. Am I right in saying that?
Yeah, they're pretty big boned animals. I grew up outfitting in northern BC, so I kind of have a special place in my heart for those bigger horses.
So you've mentioned your dad a couple times, and I know that your dad does a lot of clinics and clinicians. Tell us a little bit about maybe some of your techniques compared to his when it comes to training a horse.
Yeah, so I try to apply everything that I can that I've learned from Dad, and we're both really big on learning as much as we can in any environment with whoever your mentors are. So it kind of varies as I go throughout life working for different people, but I'm really enjoying the ranching. I think that the outside miles is really good for these horses, and it's good for me. I like being out there, as well as the roping, just getting a better understanding of some of that.
Let me ask you, I want to talk about 3 fast facts real quick about Keely. Number 1, she's the first guest in the history of Western Sports Roundup to join us from a swing. Number 2, she was a ballerina growing up before she got into training these big, stout horses. And number 3, she's also a photographer and does a pretty good job of marketing her own horses. Keely, that's a well-rounded background. This is a little bit of some of your work, and talk about some of that. Talk about how you go from ballet to training horses. Talk about marketing a little bit. I'm going to throw this wide open because it's our final question, but you've had a chance to do everything.
I have. I've been really blessed. Sorry. I've gotten to live a pretty exciting life, and I've had a lot of good people in my corner supporting me throughout it all. I'm very passionate about living a life that we love. I think that we all have to work for a living, but having the opportunity to do things that we love and having people support you has just been outstanding. And I've had, my family and friends in my corner, whatever direction I've chosen to go. With the dance, that was a huge part of my life. And there's many good lessons and values that I've taken away from that. I have a huge draw towards videography and photography. My mom always was packing a camera around, and she was a big part of the success to my dad's business with the marketing. I think it all kind of goes hand in hand, especially selling horses, having some quality marketing. I just couldn't vouch for it enough, hiring people that can help you. I've had a great team of photographers and videographers over the year that have helped me get the content I need to really try and show my horses.
Keely, we are going to ask one more question, just out of curiosity. So your dancing background, you danced at maybe one of the highest levels in Canada, but the crossover between the two, do you have anybody that you stay in touch with that you used to dance with that is just intrigued with what you do with horses?
Yes, I'm so fortunate. I have from all the different walks of lives people that I still stay in touch with. And when I was dancing, because I grew up on a horse ranch, people knew my love for that as well. And so I think it's just been kind of full circle to see, with dancing professionally, your career physically, because it's so demanding, it doesn't have a ton of longevity. So that was kind of intimidating to me, and I could just never really quite walk away from the Western lifestyle and my love for that.
Well, Keely, thank you for staying in the Western lifestyle. You've obviously had an impact. Thank you for your time today on Western Sports Roundup. Congratulations on your success at the Art of the Cowgirl sale, and enjoy your future endeavors. I can't wait to see what big stout horse you show up with next year at that sale that brings a whole lot of money, because you're on a little bit of a roll right now. Keely Stewart, thank you for your time.
Both very much. I really appreciate the opportunity to be here.
Thank you, Keely. Keely Stewart joining us the last 2 years. The high-selling horse at the Art of the Cowgirl sale, Governor, brought $225,000. Big Ben the year before that brought $200,000. Some horses build a career. The rare ones build a life. That is courtesy of the Art of the Cowgirl on social media.
That is good stuff. But stick around. Rodeo Houston tonight, another performance. It will follow our show right into NRG Stadium. So stick around with us. More from Rodeo Houston. It is time for our Veterans top 3 stories. Clean treat and heel, and the Bulldoggers are going to love this one. A $100,000 ad at Xtreme Bulldogging event that's going to happen in Abilene, Texas here in a few weeks. I cannot wait to see how things go.
March 27th and March 29th are when that is going to happen in Abilene. Let's talk about a special story about a cowgirl out of Canada. This is Keely Stewart, and that big horse that you're looking at is called Governor. That was the high-selling horse at this year's Art of the Cowgirl Big Auction. She also had the high-selling horse last year at the Art of the Cowgirls Big Auction. Last 2 years, $425,000 for those 2 horses combined. Jordan Williams, this year's National Rein Cow Horse Association World's Greatest Horseman winner. That's $150,000. $881.5 was his aggregate total through 4 events. You can find all of the information if you come back and watch Western Sports Roundup anytime on the Cowboy Channel Plus app.
Yeah, that is good stuff, good stuff. Some great interviews today. But now let's talk about Rodeo Houston coming up tonight, which is going to follow right into this show. So let's talk a little bit about bareback riding and see what the matchups look. Steve, you got one that stands out to you?
So there was a 3-way tie last night in the bareback riding at Rodeo Houston. A trio of 82-point scores and then an 81 right behind. The guy who was 81 happens to be the reigning champion of Rodeo Houston and also happens to be the reigning world champion. I'm going to keep a close eye on Rocker Steiner tonight, see what he does with Billy Shakespeare in that bucking horse.
Okay, so I saw Billy Shakespeare. It just seems theatrical for Rocker Steiner tonight to come back and maybe dominate in this performance. So is it okay if I take the same pick as you?
Yeah,
okay. Let's go to saddle bronc riding. Okay, you picked last. I'm going to pick this time.
Okay.
I'm taking Stetson Wright. Would you have guessed that?
Gee. Nice job crawling out on a limb there, Corey. I'll tell you who I'm going to keep an eye on tonight is Mitch Pollock. And Mitch, he didn't have much last night to work with. He was 78 points off his rocker. We'll see what happens tonight with Mitch Pollock. That's a good field to saddle bronc riding. Let's talk about the bull riders, and I'm keeping an eye on Hayden Welsh. A bull called Dual Citizen. Hayden was one of 3 bull riders who rode last night. He made a point in an interview with Janie Johnson. It was kind of interesting. His father, Bobby Welsh, the 7-time NFR qualifier, was one of the first guys ever to ride all of his bulls at Rodeo Houston. So we'll see what Hayden Welsh can do tonight if he can follow in Dad's footsteps.
I think that's a great pick, and that is a very dangerous bull rider if you ask me. So hopefully you guys enjoy the rodeo. Bob Tallman, Andy Seiler, and Boyd Paul Hamus will take you through the entire thing. But on behalf of Steve Kenyon, I'm Corey Keith. Thanks for joining Western Sports Roundup, and enjoy the show. It's time for Rodeo Houston Super Series 2, Round 2 from